All right. Hi, I'm Rosie Gremmert. I'm excited to be here with you guys today. I am going to share just a really easy and quick soap DIY. And this is going to be a little bit more like a show and tell rather than us actually making it together. I do have some that I've already done that is really messy, and I thought it was going to be ready to pop out, but that's the thing about many of these things. You can't rush them. So this isn't quite ready to pop out yet, but I will post a picture of it in the comments after it's hardened enough to be able to pop it out of the molds. Okay, so there are a few different ways to do soap. There's ways that involve lye, and I do know how to do that. This is not going to be a demonstration of that today. There are tons and tons of YouTube videos about how to make soap like that from scratch, and then you can decide if you want it to be vegan, if you want to avoid, like palm oil and all these other great things. I love homemade soaps, even the melt and pour kind, like what I'm going to show you, for a few different reasons. One is I've always done these kinds of things with my kids and now with my grandkids. It helps them to learn about sustainability, about not relying on grocery store chains, and what an important lesson for the world we're living in right now, right? So I've just always thought this way, and I do think that in some ways that was a little easier adjustment for us because we were already used to not getting all of our things from the grocery store, right? So I'm going to show you an example of like our dishwashing soap. I've got it right here. I should have had it closer, sorry. I've got it right here. This is our dishwashing soap. And as you can see, can you see the pattern on it? It's like a flower. It's always hard with the light. And we just get this little brush stamp and rub it around on there and then use this to clean our dishes. So we're not getting another plastic bottle, right? And this is a self-draining soap dish. So it just sits on the edge, and if it is wet and soapy, it just drips down into our sink. So I love this, and there's recipes all over the internet on how to make this, and even without lye, you can do it with Castile soap and have a nice homemade dishwashing soap and not be relying on grocery store chains or getting more plastic bottles or not knowing all the things that's in your soap, right? The other reason why I love things like this is because it's really something that you can do with kids or even older kids. They can do it on their own. Because unlike when I'm working with things that I'm going to be eating, where I don't necessarily like to use a microwave, if I'm doing melt and pour soap, this is a goat's milk one that I like. Just got it off of Amazon, I'm pretty sure. Comes with 2 of these blocks together. Or if you're doing more like a clear glycerin soap, which is what this one is. You can see I've already partially used this package. All you do is microwave it. And you just microwave for 30 seconds and stir, and microwave for 30 seconds and stir, and do that 3 or 4 times. And once it's all melted, it's just a matter of pouring it in the molds, being patient enough, and then popping it out, right? So I'm going to talk about a couple fun things you can do with these simple molds. One thing you do want to do is to cut it into smaller pieces to melt it so that it's going to melt more evenly. So like when I got this, I cut it into fourths and cut it into fourths so that they were cubes, right, that went into my microwavable dish. And another reason why I like to use this is if you've watched any of the other ones I've done, like with the chocolate and with the balms, then I will keep hot water over here with my canning ring in the bottom of the pan. Can you guys see that? Which makes it so that then this is like a homemade double boiler, and that will keep the soap hot while I'm trying to work with it. So let's talk about some fun things you can do. So this is a mold. These are some molds I got off of Amazon. If you've been watching the lives I've been doing, you've seen them before for the hot cocoa bombs and also for the balms. And you can get loofah slices just like this, or you can grow your own loofah, or you can just buy a whole loofah and you can cut it with a serrated knife. It's kind of messy. Do it on a cutting board that you can get all the crumbs with later on, right? And then you can just pop this right inside. Oh, that one's a little bit big. That must be why it was sitting there. You can just pop that right inside that mold. And then after you have your melted soap base, just pour it over the top. You have a nice loofah soap. So that's what I did with these ones. And I wanted to show you guys this because you might be like, oh, mine's so messy. It's not going to turn out. It's going to be so yucky. And that's just not true, because once I pop it out of the molds, then I can let the soap cure a little bit more for just a couple more days. And then I'll be able to take a sharp knife and just go right around the edge all the way around. And it will clean up any of that funky stuff, and it will just look really pretty. Now, what I did with these ones, which you can't see, but you'll be able to see when the pictures are all done, is I melted the entire amount that I wanted to use to make these 4 soaps, which was one of these blocks. And I scented it all together. It's holiday time as we're recording these, so I decided to scent it with doTERRA's Holiday Joy. And so I added, I want to say it was about 25 drops to this 1 pound of soap. You can just stir it and then smell it. You can even get a little bit of it on your hand and then wash your hands with it, see if you can still smell it, see if it's the right scent. And the reason why I say to do that is it's kind of like cooking. You don't just make a sauce and only follow the recipe and not taste it as you go along. So washing your hands with a little drip of the soap, like what's on here, that will give you a good idea if you've got it scented too much or too little, right, at that time. I also recommend using silicone stirrers as often as you can. So I scented the whole thing, and I do have some really nice natural colorings that I've gotten in the past, and I'm sorry, I don't know where I got these, but again, you can just Google and make sure that you're getting the quality of cleanness that you're looking for your personal care products. And I added 10 drops of this red, and I stirred it all in, and I put in about a third, and then I let it sit for, it was about 10 minutes, maybe 15, until it wasn't shiny on the top anymore, but I didn't want it all the way set. Then I melted the soap again, and I added another 10 drops, stirred that in, and same thing, let that set. Repeated one more time. That last time I think I put in more like 10, 12. It was a little more than 10, so I wanted a little deeper. Might have been 13, 12 or 13 drops of the color. And then that's what the third color is here on the top. So when I pop these out, they'll actually have 3 different colors to the soap with that loofah scrub in there. And it's going to be so pretty. Okay, so along those same lines, let's say you want to make soaps for some kids. You can use the glycerin soap if you have somebody that has like really sensitive skin. The goat's milk soap is a really nice soap base too for sensitive skin as well. But you can have some people with eczema that the goat's milk isn't great for their skin. I found that even my grandkids with allergies, that they can still use the goat's milk soap and it doesn't bother their skin. But you can use the glycerin, or you can use the other one, and you can get, I got these fun little wild animals. You probably see these at your dollar store or the checkout line at your grocery store. They're just, you know, seriously, you guys, cheapy little animals. I've used dinosaurs. I've used Hot Wheels cars. The soap mold that I like to use to do these kinds of things for kids is one I've had for a long time. It's not silicone. It's more of a traditional hard plastic soap mold. And you can see how the animals, if I was to do it and not do it in 2 steps, they would be showing. See, they would show on the front face of the soap, right? Because they'd be all the way against the bottom. So what you want to do to start out with is take your toys, or maybe even it's something for girlfriends. You could hide a cute little necklace or a gemstone or something. I saw somebody else that did a video, and they're like, you can get some of those little glass bottles with a little tiny cork in them and write a secret message and poke it in there, right? And that can go in the soap too, kind of fun. But you'll want to pour in about a 1/4 inch well, I guess depending on what your toy is, but for these animals, I would do about 1/4 inch. And then I would let those soft set, just like I did with doing the different colors on the loofah ones I did, and then press those animals in just a little bit so that we made sure there was no animal part poking up out of the back. And then do a second pour. It doesn't even have to be different colors, right? It's still all warm enough that it's going to melt together and hold that animal in there in the middle. And then if you're using the glycerin soap, they'll still be able to see the animal in there because you can see how it's kind of translucent-y, right? It's cloudy, but you still can see there's an animal in there. And the thing I found with little kids is then they scrub to try to get the animal out. So I really do think that what's best for hiding fun little prizes for kids is to use a soap that you can't see through, because then it's going to be a surprise when it starts to show up when they're having their bath, right? So some of the things I like to use scenting soaps for kids is the Serenity blend. It's easy. doTERRA's got masterful blends. You don't have to think. You just add in, for this pound of soap, again, I would add maybe 25 drops, maybe 30. Got a beautiful bedtime bath soap to help with calming and relaxing. Some other fun molds that I've gotten that you guys can try too. Where did that one go? Oh, I do have an older one that I love using. So don't be afraid to buy this kind if you see them on the stores or online or anything, because look how cheap this was, you guys. It was only 99 cents when I bought it. And it's not silicone, so you can't pop it out, but it does work great with soaps. If you're doing cold process soap and you're using lye, these things with more detail, the detail won't always work. So these silicone molds I have that are these pretty flowers, and then like these ones with the sun and the moon, you're going to have better results consistently, especially as a beginner using the melt and pour soaps instead. So that's a fun one that I have. And then I'm going to show you a few other things that I got too. These I actually got to do mini muffins for my grandkids, and they're just on Amazon, little silicone molds. These would make perfect little guest soaps, right? And that was a pretty inexpensive set where there's like 6 different types of flowers. And we use these all the time for like when we do banana muffins and stuff. And they love them. But really, really good for little tiny fun guest soaps too. These were from IKEA. Again, they're silicone. I think they're ice cube trays, but they'd work perfect for doing some fun little soaps. You could put little trinkets in there. You could play around with layers of color, right? It'd be really fun. And again, this is an ice cube mold, stars. I'm not sure where this one's from. It doesn't say IKEA on it. But again, this works really well for doing little soaps. And and then another thing is coloring. So I talked about those colors. I like to use natural colors when I can. So I have organic beetroot powder also. I also have used saffron. It's a little expensive. It's beautiful yellow. I have these organic whole blue poppy seeds. And so when I put these into a soap, especially like a hand soap, it gives it a nice gentle amount of scrub, like not as much as if you put like some sea salt in there. And it gives it a little light bluish cast too, because the heat from the soap kind of pulls that blue out from the poppy seeds. And then this is some lavender that I harvested from my yard, but that can always be really fun to add into soaps too. Now, something to keep in mind is many times as your soap cools, if you have a heavier thing that you've added in, like some oatmeal, or lavender disperses pretty well, but I've had these poppy seeds settle more to what is the bottom of the mold, which ends up being the top of your soap, right? And it can be really pretty. Like, don't worry about that. Just know that that is a part of what will happen. So if you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate. Put them in the comments. I hope you give this a try. The fun thing about it is you really can just keep reheating the soap. And even if you, like, let's say I get these out of here and I can't clean them up and they're a big mess and I don't want to give them to anybody. Well, no big deal. I can just melt it again, right? And I can just do it again. Might not be the same color stripes or whatever, but I can just melt it again. Okay, this one is actually starting to release. Let's see. Ooh, you guys are so lucky. The chrysanthemum was the first one I poured. So look at that. That's so pretty. So you can, I don't know if you guys can see the 3 different colors. I'll take a picture and put it in the comments. It's like, focus, please focus. And then it's got the loofah on the bottom. Smells like holiday joy. This is a good one. It's a keeper. Sometimes it's hard for me to give the things away that I make. I'm like, oh, I just want to put it out at my house. It's so pretty. And that's good that that just came out because I can show you guys really quickly. So all I did was just pushed. I just pushed on it. I could see it was pulling away from the edges. It wasn't glossy anymore. And I just pushed and pushed it all the way inside out to pop that soap out. So super easy, you guys. Have fun. If you do some soaps, take pictures. If you have other ideas of fun things to put inside a soap so you can have those surprise gifts for Christmas, just let me know. And these are really fun stocking stuffers. And people, whenever I've given them, people have always loved getting homemade soap, right? Okay. Have fun, you guys.